What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Andrew McInnis and Carmine Bianco with you to break down the two lone games of the day here on a Friday. Hope you guys didn't think we weren't going to be here with just two games. We are here with sides, with totals, maybe a few props as well here on the day. 6 and 60 segment. Carmine is already ready to go for Saturday. He's looked ahead to some picks that he likes for Saturday's slate. And you guys asked, and I heard, we've got a college hockey play for you today, a free play. And I actually have a college hockey best bet up today at WagerTalk. But Carm, good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well, Andrew. Huge weekend up in the NHL. It is so much action. A lot of games last night in the NHL. And a big congrats to you. 5% winner on the Edmonton Oilers team total. You got the empty net goal, and I was hoping that maybe a little of that magic would have gone to my second play of the night. The first one was an easy winner. The second one, I had over 6 in the Sabres-Vancouver game, 3-2 for the longest time in that game, and they just couldn't get anything. Neither team could get anything. A Vancouver goal would have been great. They had power plays. They had empty nets. They had every chance, but I'll take a 1-1 and we'll just move on because I have a monster weekend planned. But congrats to you, man, on that 5% winner, my friend.
Thank you, Carm. And I'll tell you, I was sweating. Like, it's one of those plays where you cannot act like you hit that until you see 4 goals go in. I don't know if you were watching the game. I know you had your own games you were watching. When the net was empty, they hit the post twice, and one of the players, Podkolzin, and I always hate when I see teams do this when I'm not even having a bet on it. He tried to go top corner. He hit the crossbar. It was crossbar and out. I'm like, dude, you have an empty net. Just put it in the net. So, did I expect it to need to go to an empty netter? No. But Edmonton was purely dominant in that one. But yeah, good day yesterday in the NHL. And I want to clarify something. Not that we should have to answer people trolling and stuff, but someone in the comment section said, Andrew, what does you mean it was a good day for you on Wednesday? It wasn't even a great day. I want you guys to know I'm a hockey fan as well. So sometimes when I say it was a good day in the NHL, I don't necessarily mean that I made a bunch of winners. If I say it was a good day in the NHL, it sometimes just means I watched some good games. But I'm on a pretty good NHL run right now, and the 5% play was great. And Carm, you've been rolling as well. You hit a 5% earlier, and as you guys can see at the bottom of the screen, we've been talking about it a lot. 3 days of all hockey plays for $49. A lot of you guys yesterday that bought my 5%, you bought just the 3-day special. So instead of just buying that one play, and Carm, you know how it is. There's still worth of people that just bought the one play. You're never going to change that. But for people out there at Carmine's page, wt.buzz/CB or mine/AM, you can get 3 days of all hockey plays.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great deal, guys. And then you get a lot of info on the shows as well, too, with the free plays we talk about. We're not always going to hit the free plays, but when we do, we like to hear from you just the same way as when we miss, we hear from you as well too. The pod play one with like 10 seconds left of the Sabres game in the first period over. They get a goal in that 1-1 at the end of one. And I was like, all right, the pod play one, we're back on track. I was pretty happy about that one. And just talking about different sports, if you didn't watch, and you should be watching the WagerTalk Last Call on Mondays, Fridays, weekends. Joe Madden hosted last night. She always does the Thursday night game. I went on there, and I talked about that game last night, and this is what you got. These are the 5 plays I gave out on yesterday's Last Call. I gave out the Atlanta Falcons plus 5.5. The Atlanta Falcons money line plus 225. Bijan Robinson over receiving yards. Bijan Robinson over rushing yards. Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown. 5-0. 5-0. You could have put together one of those damn same game parlays and cashed a bunch of money. That's what I gave out on yesterday's show.
You might
So,
have to get his jersey after that, Carm. Like
yeah, dude,
I saw in the
it
last call
was
Slack, you had all his plays. Every play you had Bijan.
all his plays. I expected him to get injured on the first play of the game because when you put all your eggs in one basket, and I joked around about that in the production group, you put all your eggs in one basket, and sometimes it goes horribly wrong. But I just knew he was going to have a monster game. It was one of my circa picks, and I gave out the other 4 circa picks that I have for the weekend. I thought it was a great way to start that one out. So, with that said, we're going to talk Chicago Blackhawks, St. Louis Blues, Seattle Kraken, Utah Mammoth. Then Andrew's going to do a college play for you guys. The 6 and 60. I have taken my time with this 6 and 60, and if there's someone up there who wants a 6 and 0, please give us a 6 and 0 on this 6 and 60. You're going to do a same game parlay, and then we're going to finish it off with another pod play, and then we're going to close it out. Show some love. Hit that like button. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button so you never miss any of these shows, live shows with content and free plays. We always appreciate you guys when you do that.
And you hit your pod yesterday, right, Carm? And I hit my same game parlay. So it was a good day for both of us.
Yes. And even on a 2-game schedule, I've got a pod for you guys as well, too. And if you're not following on Twitter, I'm going to have a pod tomorrow, but obviously with no show, I'm just going to post a graphic on my X page. So at Carmine Bianco WT, head over there, hit the follow button. I need to get to like 10K followers. I think if I go to 10K followers, I'll shave off an eyebrow. How's that, guys? With that said, Andrew, let's talk some hockey. We're already 6 minutes and 45 seconds into it. And we get guys not in the live chat, but sometimes later on in the comment section, just give us the plays. Like they want like a 2-minute show where we just rabble off the plays and nothing else. I don't get it. It's for you guys that are married. It is getting the free plays is sometimes you have to wait. It's kind of like when your wife says to you, I'll be ready in 5 minutes, which is the same as saying to your wife, there's only 1 minute left in this basketball game, and then we'll take off. Both of them are false. So with that said, Andrew, Chicago Blackhawks, St. Louis Blues minus 128. The Blackhawks plus 107. Total sits here at 5.5. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, Carm, I mean, looking at this Blues team, it's one of those scenarios where it's a second half of back-to-back for them, and not just the second half of back-to-back, but second half of back-to-back where they played yesterday on the road, and then they got to come back at home as well. I always find those funny because it's like, can we really talk about how it's a home game for the St. Louis Blues if, they're in a very similar travel situation as their opponent is? Right. And you had a great call yesterday. Hats off to you. You faded the crap out of this Blues team. And that's a nice winner for you with the Preds. Whether or not Bennington is to blame, I've been telling people he's still my Team Canada goalie, but the defense has been bad and goaltending has not been acceptable. When you look at the projected goalies here for this one here, you're going to get Joel Hofer tonight or Hofer tonight. And just looking at some of these numbers here for him, 890 save percentage, 318, and he's not done very well, but he gets put in these second half of back-to-backs quite a bit. Now, Spencer Knight, he's been the difference. I mean, Spencer Knight versus Arvid Soderblom, it's been way, way different. And Spencer Knight even said it himself. He goes, hey, look, we go from giving up 6 goals in one game, 7 goals in the other against the Kings and the Ducks. We were desperate to bounce back. How good did that Hawks team look against the New York Rangers? They looked fantastic. Like, they looked awesome. And though a lot of guys in the live chat right now are talking about the movement, talking about some of the odds here in this one, open it up at minus 149 for the Blues. Current number at some of the books here at minus 120, 125 ballpark. I'll tell you, the total is 5.5. And I think I look at this one. I want to take a look at the first period over here, Carm. I mean, Chicago and St. Louis, second half of back-to-back. You've got this Blackhawks team that's been pretty busy themselves, but they're coming into this one relatively rested because they didn't really get that tested against the Rangers. So I think the first period over is the play, but I would not be shocked whatsoever if we see a good effort out of this St. Louis Blues team. So one of the reasons why I'm looking at this Blues team is that, yeah, Spencer Knight is great, but maybe we look towards kind of like Blues first period, or Blues to score the first goal or something. They're going to be pissed. Like, they got absolutely beat down. So, Kyle, I'm going to go back to you with this. Do you think that it changes your handicap when a team is on second half of back-to-back that much with how they played in the first game? Because I'm looking at this one. I kind of like the first period over because of just the urgency they're going to have after getting kind of, as I've been saying lately, slapped around. But maybe, just maybe, they're going to want to play really good defensively because they've been not playing well defensively in front of their goalies. I kind of lean to the Blues early, despite the sharp money coming in on the Hawks.
I think the fact that there's only 2 games today, Andrew, you're going to see some weird line movements and what have you. As far as, like, to your point of the Blues, and some guys in the chat also asking, and same question as you, does a team play differently when they get spanked? Maybe on home ice, on the road. I'm not entirely sure. You look at Chicago, perfect example. They lose. They played 2 games in LA over 3 days. They win the first one. I think it was 2-1 in OT. They lose 6-0 in the second one. Then they go to Anaheim and they lose 7-1 there. That was their game to respond. They didn't respond. They came home and they responded in that one. The better goalie here, obviously, and I get it with the Binnington thing as well too. The better goalie right now is Spencer Knight. He's their goalie of the future. He's playing extremely well, and he, on that road trip, he played the first 3 games of that road trip. So him playing last night doesn't disqualify him from playing tonight. I think he could very well be in there tonight. This is a team that wants to string some wins together. The Chicago team. I just think the Blues are hurting right now. We're seeing it. Jordan Kyrie's an important part of that team. He's not there. He's injured, and they're struggling to score goals. You look at some of their games and some of their losses. They've almost become a professional team at losing 1-goal games. Like, there's a bunch of 1-goal losses on their on their schedule. It's just having a full complement of players there to get you over the line. And it just seems like this Blues team, when you think they've turned the corner, they make a U-turn and they go right back in the direction they were going previously. I just think the better team right now is the Chicago Blackhawks. They're the healthier team. They're the better team. I would take them in the first period here. And as far as, like, who starts for St. Louis, these teams played at the beginning of the season. In St. Louis, and that game was 8-3 for Chicago. Both goalies were in that game. They scored 4 on Binnington and they scored 4 on Hofer. So it is not as if there's a mystery of who the goalie is going to be tonight, and will he be able to stonewall the Chicago team. Chicago's improving. They're playing a little bit better. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs at the end of the year? No, I don't. Do I think the Blues? I thought the Blues might do enough to get into the playoffs, but having watched them over the last week or so, I'm not entirely sure that this team even deserves to be in the playoffs. They would have to completely turn around their season. And unlike their season in which they turned it around in December, late December, where they brought up Binnington from the minors, and then they went on a huge run and then ended up winning the Stanley Cup in Game 7 in Boston. Completely different team, completely different mentality. I just do not like the way this Blues team is playing right now. Give me Chicago first period, plus 105. So you and I are going mano a mano, my friend.
The only reason I'm saying that, Carm, is that if I was to play the Blues, it would be just in the first period. Everybody in the chat right now is talking about the 3 games, 4 nights, the busy schedule for the Blues. It's going to be, and honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think, like, it totals 5 and doesn't it seem kind of weird how busy the schedule's been, how many goals the Blues give up, but we're getting a 5.5 as the total. Like, that seems kind of weird to me. Like, I understand the Hawks, like, with Spencer Knight, and sometimes it can be low scoring, and that seems a little bit weird to me here on a Friday. But yeah, Carm, I I just think that
I
right
think,
now Spencer Knight is the man in town, and if you look at simply goalie matchups, it's hard not to look towards the Hawks. It really is. I get it.
yeah, and you look at it, and let's take the hypothetical, because that's all we have here until we have starting goalies, but that it is Spencer Knight in goal. The fact that the Blues are struggling to score goals right now, and you know what I mean, and then now you're facing a very good goalie. You know, Saros was good last night, but he didn't need to be spectacular in that game because the Blues really didn't generate a lot of high danger chances. They didn't generate a ton of XG in that game. It was Nashville's from start to finish. Now, you come in, if you face Spencer Knight and you're struggling to score, what happens? You're going to, if Chicago doesn't take any penalties, it negates any power play opportunities. This is just one in which, on a short schedule, and I think, the money coming in is more of a fade on the Blues than it is on Chicago is that much better than St. Louis and deserves to be getting a lot of tickets on their plus money. I think.
Yeah.
I think going into this one, it is more of a fade on the Blues. The public are looking at him and saying this team isn't playing well right now. They've had a brutal schedule, and I'm not entirely sure things will get better for them. You know what I mean? They say things need to get worse before they get better. I'm going to talk about that in the 6 and 60, of course. But things I think need to get worse for the Blues. Andrew, before we go to this second game, Seattle and Utah, you have a trade to announce. You didn't make the trade yourself, but it is a very interesting
I feel like
one.
a general manager here. I got a trade to announce.
Since we're talking about goalies, let's pull up that graphic and discuss this one.
Yeah, let's jump into it here. We got the trade. This is huge. Frank Saravelli reports trade details. The Edmonton Oilers have finally moved on from Stuart Skinner. They have traded for Tristan Jarry and Samuel Poulin. The Pittsburgh Penguins get Stuart Skinner, Brett Kulak, and a 2029 second-round pick. Interesting, I think Brett Kulak actually being that kicker, I know it sounds funny me starting with him, is not too bad, but here's the deal. My gut instinct tells me a new goaltender is not going to help the defensive mistakes that the Oilers make. A new goaltender is not going to help when Evan Bouchard turns the puck over in the middle of the zone and then it's wide open. This to me is one of those things I think is like a spark to the team. And if we're really honest here, they needed a spark, because what's the definition of insanity, Carm? You can't do the same thing over and over again. And every single person said that Stuart Skinner is not going to be the one that takes you to the promised land. But if you really think about it, look at the numbers that Tristan Jarry had against the New York Islanders in the playoffs a few years ago. The guy couldn't stop a beach ball. Like, this guy could be a Vezina nominee tomorrow, and then next week he could be in the AHL. It's very interesting, and a lot of people I've talked to today about this have pretty much just said maybe they're just a bit desperate. Like, maybe the Oilers said, you know what, we have to make a change. We have to make a move. So here it is, guys. Tristan Jarry, now a full-time member of the Edmonton Oilers, and Stuart Skinner goes on with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Comment here saying, Andrew, did you watch Jarry play versus the Habs last night? That game could have been a lot worse. He played really well. And I get it. He is a goalie that can play well. But Carm, guess what? I also watched the Oilers game last night, and guess who also looked pretty good? Stuart Skinner. So I want your thoughts. What do you think here? I mean, obviously, Jarry is the better goaltender, but I think that the Edmonton Oilers still have defensive issues. It wasn't always on the goalie. What do you think?
No, I don't want to put the blame on the goalies. We always talk about, especially in the playoffs, your goalie sometimes needs to steal a game for you, make that big save that keeps you in the game, and it's a huge difference for the team. I saw a couple games yesterday where that in fact happened, where a goalie made a great save. Instead of being 2-1, the team goes down the other end and scores a goal to go up 3-0 in the game. It is these are the ones that make the difference. But the problem is with the Edmonton Oilers and with the style in which they're playing at the moment, you could put the reincarnation of Dominic Hasek in goal for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's still not going to get you a cup. They need to play better defensively. I just don't know what is wrong with this team. I get it. You know what I mean? You have a guy like Connor McDavid, you have a guy like Leon Draisaitl. You don't want them in your defensive zone. You want them in the O zone. But it is guys like you mentioned, like Evan Bouchard, and making some of these bad passes. He's had some bad games of late. So we'll see. There's plenty of season left. What happens in the first 2 weeks of December, when you anticipate you're going to make the playoffs? What happens in the first 2 weeks of December are completely irrelevant to what is going to happen in late April. But it is, again, also falling into bad routines, and that's what they need to avoid. You look at the Leafs. The Leafs aren't scoring a ton of goals, but they're playing better defensively. It kind of bit them in the ass yesterday, not being able to put away the San Jose Sharks, and the Sharks tied it up late and win that game. But we shall see. We'll see what comes of this trade. I don't think it's something that we can evaluate in the first couple of weeks. This is something that we're going to have to evaluate over months and see if the Edmonton Oilers play some, if Jarry gets lit up, if he plays great his first 2 or 3 games, then he gets lit up for 5-6 goals, then what? Is it Jarry's fault?
What do you do?
Like, how many goalies do you bring in? It can't be a revolving door of goalies. It's just what it is. I spoke of Dominic Hasek. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that, guys, breaking news. The Buffalo Sabres have won 2 straight games. They beat the Oilers. They beat the Vancouver Canucks. They're doing everything they can to get out of last place, but not make the playoffs, and completely mush up any chance they ever have of winning a draft lottery. This is the life of a Buffalo Sabres fan.
Carm, they're going to do exactly what the Flames are doing.
Miserable.
Exactly what the Flames are going to do, where they're going to probably just become a decent team, just enough to get themselves out of a top draft pick, like you mentioned. I know Perlo is in here, and Perlo is not an Oilers fan whatsoever. He says about the depth offensively. He says that he doesn't even think that Jarry is the better goaltender. And goaltending isn't the problem. Look, I think they needed to make a change overall. But based on the numbers that I'm looking at here for this season, his save percentage is .909, 2.66 GAA. But then last year, Carm, he played 12 games in the AHL. In 2024, 2025, he had a 3.09 GAA, 2023, 2024, 2.91 GAA. His numbers are relatively the same. 909 save percentage, 903 save percentage, 909 save percentage. He had one bad year, but I don't know. I'm very interested to see how this works out. But I guess sometimes you have to make a change. Sometimes you have no choice. But guys, this is obviously the hot topic of the day. There's only 2 games here today. In the comments below, when you're watching the video later, let us know what you think of the trade. Was it a good call for the Oilers to go and get Tristan Jarry? We want to know what you think.
Yeah, Andrew, listen, it's always great to hear from you guys. And of course, drop a comment later on when the video is posted and let me know how you think I'm going to do in the 6 and 60. But you might want to listen to it first. Well, Andrew, we got to get cracking because there's a mammoth game tonight. Oh, I've been waiting to use that pun.
Oh, my goodness.
It is the Utah. That's a dad joke. Utah Mammoth minus 182. The Seattle Kraken plus 149. Total sits here at 5.5. Andrew, where are you going with this one?
Carm, I get kind of scared when I like chalky picks on Friday because Friday, otherwise known as Freaky Friday, where we usually end up seeing a lot of dogs hit, a lot of unders hit in this one. I think we saw someone talking about, is it a mom's trip going on for Seattle? That kind of worries me if there's a trip going on here for Seattle. I don't really like to hear about that, but this is going to be a Mammoth team that is about as desperate, and I mean as desperate as it possibly gets. And I'm not saying I like to always bet on desperation, Carm, but this is one of those scenarios that you have to look at it. I mean, besides the 7-0 win this Mammoth team got over the Ducks, they haven't really done anything really impressive lately. So looking at some of their games they've struggled in, whether it's been against the Flames, the Panthers, the Kings, whoever it's been. They've struggled a little bit here, but I simply think that this is a tough matchup for the Kraken just because of the speed issue. I don't think the Kraken have the speed that can match up with the depth offensively that the Utah Mammoth have to offer. So this is one of those games here, Carm, where if I take Utah to win, I'm going to probably pull the regulation, or I'm going to look towards maybe a team total under for Seattle. I just think that the speed of play and the desperation here for them, especially the spot that it is here. I know that guys in the chat right now are saying it's a mentor's trip or a dad's trip right now for this team, but Utah playing at home, they've lost a ton of games in a row. Seattle coming off a tight win. I think this is a good spot for them. Money has trickled in on Seattle, but I kind of lean towards the Utah side. If there is going to be a dog that wins tonight, I do think it's Seattle, or I do think it's Chicago. But what do you think here, Carm? I mean, I'm backing a desperate team that is like a minus, big minus price here. Is it worth it, or would you take the dog in this one?
Yeah, I'm not big on backing desperate teams. It's similar to what I talked about last night, and we're talking about different sports, but like talking about the football game last night. Tell me a team is in a must-win situation, and I want to bet against them because everyone thinks must-win means will win, and then even in football, where there's a point spread involved, must-win could turn out to be a win, but a non-cover at the same time. And this is one of those ones. Listen, Seattle just to me, while they're a good team, they're not a great team. I think it's just been. It seems like the last couple of seasons, last year and then this year thus far, they've been stagnant. This team went to the playoffs. They knocked off the Colorado Avalanche, but they haven't taken that step forward that we anticipate from this team. I look at Utah, and I faded Utah in their first game back against the LA Kings because I thought it was such a brutal travel schedule for them. It was a good spot for the Kings, who play well on the road. And then they play their next game, and they're at home, and they lose 4-3 to Philadelphia in that game. Or sorry, not Philadelphia, to Florida in that game. But if you have to use numbers sometimes as indicators, or you look at like analytics. And if you look at the analytics for Utah in that game against Florida, they lost that game 4-3. It's a Florida team that is starting to play well on top of it, but that's their XG in that game, I think, was something like 437 for Utah, which is their highest expected goals generated over their last 16 games. You have to go back 16 games to find something that was at 439 for them. They generated a ton of chances. Unfortunately, they allowed a lot of XG as well, too, against Florida, and that's what ultimately cost them. I think the fact that they've been home now for 4 or 5 days, they're back in their arena. I think they get a home win here. Do I want to lay $1.82? I really don't. You can look at a couple of ways. You can either split it up, or you can take the puck line on this one, but I think the Utah are definitely the right side in this one. I think Seattle has to play extremely well, and I get it. They beat the LA Kings 3-2 in OT to snap a long losing streak. And normally I'll jump on a team that snaps out of a losing streak. Seattle's not the team that I want to, because I looked at their numbers over the course of that losing streak, and even in that win, and there was no difference. There was no uptick in their analytics. So it just tells me they beat the Kings in OT in a game they could have easily lost, and we'd be talking about 8 straight losses or something like that for the Seattle Kraken. So I think Utah's obviously I think it's the right side here.
Yeah, that's the only thing, Carm, is like, I get it. Maybe a team snaps out of it so you could take them to win again, but I don't trust Seattle to do that. They're going to win a game, and can they do it again? Can they I just think line for line, Utah has more depth. And I don't say that in a lot of matchups, but I do think the speed is where the real difference will be in this matchup. I will have some player props involving the Utah Mammoth in a couple segments to go over. So looking forward to that. But Again, we keep on talking about that special. Carm, you had a 5% play earlier in the week. I had a 5% play yesterday. We're both doing well with hockey right now. That deal, guys, going into the weekend is a real good call. $49 for every single hockey play we release for the next 3 days. One 5% play is $35. This deal is 3 days of all hockey plays for $49. I have a 4% best bet up in college hockey for today. Carm, I've been following college hockey and even the AHL for quite a while. Probably a surprise to nobody, but the NHL isn't the only hockey league that I bet. And now the availability at WagerTalk with the lines being so heavily available at more sports books, we're able to give out lines. And I don't know if you guys caught Yanni the Greek's rant yesterday on WagerTalk today. It was absolutely priceless. He was talking about how he's giving out Ontario Hockey League junior plays, and someone complained that their book didn't offer it, so Yanni stopped giving out as many picks, only one or two, but he's giving out OHL picks. So if I saw Yanni giving out OHL picks, I follow these leagues as well. I follow college hockey as well. So I've got one bet for you guys here, and you guys can get my other picks that I really, really like, of course, at wagertalk.com. But we are going to take a look at college hockey action, and we're going to go under 5.5 when it comes to Army and Dartmouth today here. Under 5.5 goals, Army and Dartmouth. Guys, let's compare Army to a team like, I don't know, the Minnesota Wild, the old-fashioned New York Islanders, a team that would play very, very defensive. Think of a team that plays very, very defensive hockey and shuts it down, plays a good trap style. That's what the Army team is like in college hockey. They're very, very defensive. They're involved in a lot of more boring style games. And looking at their goals per game average is 2.59. Now, here's the kicker in this under, guys. Dartmouth is like minus 500 in this game, Carm. In a college hockey game, a team is minus 500. The total is 5.5. It's minus 120, 125 to the over. I'm taking the under 5.5 at minus 105. Dartmouth is probably going to win this one 2-1, 3-1, something around those lines here. Dartmouth gives up just 1.3 goals per game this season, and especially in games that they win, which I expect them to win tonight, they have established themselves as one of the best defensive teams in the league. So looking at all my numbers, looking at the way that this team plays, Army's going to get a lead. They're going to be able to protect it. Dartmouth, and Army's not going to be able to come back. So Army and Dartmouth tonight in college hockey under 5.5. And I do have a 4% best bet total available. A handful of games in college tonight and a huge betting board with college hockey tomorrow as well. So anybody that bought my package yesterday is going to get all my college plays and all my NHL plays as well. So Carm, a minus 500 in college hockey today, but the total only being a 5.5. So I'm expecting maybe a 3-1, 4-1, something like that. But hopefully it is a lockdown game. That's what I'm looking for.
Good luck, man. I hope you get there with that. Because if it does, then, the crowd in our live chat is just going to want some more plays. So you're going to have to dish those ones out. But with that said, guys, and I even have a graphic for you when I'm done this one, but we're going to do the 6 and 60. Andrew, I don't even know if I'm going to get this off in 60 seconds or not. I've got to really be an auctioneer in order to get it off in 60 seconds, but I'm going to time myself. So give me a second here. Let's get the timer ready. The stopwatch is ready. And let me write down the timestamp for this as well, too. We will start at 34 minutes exactly. All right, boys. This is your 6 and 60 for Saturday. Let's hope we can get there. 6-0 day coming up. Let's hope. All right. Tampa and the New York Islanders. We are going to take Tampa Bay money line in this one. The Isles have already won 2 games against Tampa Bay this season. I don't see them winning a third. Tampa scoring has really shown up 14 goals in the last 2 games. Vegas and Columbus. Vegas money line. Bad time for the Blue Jackets to hit a losing skid. Vegas coming in on a 5-0-1 run their last 6. Vegas money line for me. Montreal and the Rangers under 6 in this one. Rangers 21-10-1 to the under, 7-2-1 their last 10. Give me under 6. Washington and Winnipeg. Caps money line here. All Washington, guys. Capitals 7-0-2 their last 9. Things are going to get worse before they get better for Winnipeg. Nashville and Colorado over 6.5. Preds 8-2 to the over their last 10. Rapid revenge. These two teams played a 4-3 result for Nashville on Tuesday. Calgary and the LA Kings. The Kings in regulation. This is the best shot for the Kings to get a win. They play Dallas, Florida, and Tampa Bay next week, all on the road. Kings in regulation. That is your 6-60. Oh, so disappointed, Andrew. 1:07.
Yeah, 107. 107. I had a feeling you were going a little bit long there. Had a feeling you were going
the Nashville one made me stutter for like 2 seconds on the rapid revenge for Colorado. I shouldn't have mentioned that part of it. I still would have gone over. It's just, whatever. I want to give some info to you guys on it before and Andrew, you can pop up a partial graphic up there and I'll mention it.
Yeah, I got it.
Well, here are the plays, guys.
Hold on.
There you go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Hey, look at that. Whoa, I put a mask on my face. I was going to do the Maple Leafs paper bag over my head, but they're not part of the 6-60. This one, but you talk about the Tampa Bay money line. I get it. The Isles are playing well, but it is tough to beat a team 3 times, a good team 3 times in the first half of the season. And so I don't see the Islanders doing that one. Vegas and Columbus. Vegas is just playing so well right now. Doesn't matter who's in goal for them. The Jackets are struggling. Obviously, I think 4-game losing skid. Montreal and the Rangers, the under. The Rangers play a lot of unders, but maybe Montreal, after that win in Winnipeg, that win in Pittsburgh last night, have learned that playing defense can get you wins. Washington and Winnipeg. Winnipeg is just struggling without Hellebuck in a goal. This team is really struggling. The Caps are looking like the Caps of old. Nashville and Colorado over 6.5. You know that the Avs are going to get theirs. A little revenge spot. And Nashville scoring some goals. And then, of course, Calgary and the LA Kings. This is a Calgary team that doesn't win a lot of games on the road. The Kings are a much better team, and their numbers are starting to look better, that they are getting better, and I think they're going to start to string some wins at home. And this is a great spot to get them in regulation. So those are my thoughts on those games. Andrew, anything jump out of you or any you disagree with? I'm perfectly fine with you saying, Carm, you're going to go 0-6. I'm fine with that.
I'm going to ask you, you look, whenever you bring up the Habs, I always want to talk about them. So I'm going to ask you this because a lot of radio hosts last night are now talking about this. So one of the big problems was that when Montembeault was playing so bad at the start of the year, they put in Dobish, and then they didn't stick with Dobish. They were going back to Montembeault, and then they would go to Montembeault, and they wouldn't let Dobish get hot. So no goalie was able to get hot. My question to you is, do they go back to Fowler once again Saturday night, or is that too much? Because they're playing a back-to-back. Some people say play Fowler Saturday, and then against Edmonton, play Dobish or Montembeault on the back-to-back. Which game do you give the young guy? Because they didn't call him up for no reason. He played pretty well yesterday. Which game do you give Fowler again?
I would give him tomorrow night's game against the New York Rangers. And the reason for that being that the Rangers, especially at home, play a lot of lower scoring games. If Montreal can play a tightened up game on defense, you pretty much protect your goalie from a possible blowout, which we've seen other teams bring up guys like the Buffalo Sabres did with, I can never get his name right. I don't know if it's Levi or Levy, Devon, but they brought him up way too early. The guy's playing great in the minors, but they brought him up and the bad defensive team they hung him out to dry. And you ruin a guy's confidence like that. Against the Rangers team, hey, it's Madison Square Garden, great place to be playing. But thankfully, it's not against a Rangers team that is scoring 5 or 6 goals a game. So I think it's a better spot there than against the Edmonton Oilers that we know are going to spend a lot of time in a team's ozone. And that one could be, as we say, confidence shattering. So You start him against the New York Rangers, and you let one of the other two goalies get blown out by the Edmonton Oilers.
That's what I think too. the only thing, the only thing is the Edmonton game is at home, so it's like maybe you get him your first start at home. But to your point, I think it's probably best to give him the Saturday night game and then give one of the older goalies one of the back-to-back games, right?
There's plenty of opportunities because you look at it, and I get it, they're at home, but the Rangers one seems good. I would probably skip the Edmonton one. Then they have they have the Philadelphia Flyers, Chicago Blackhawks, and Pittsburgh Penguins coming in. With the Pens one being the first of a back-to-back, because they'll play in Pittsburgh the next night, just before they get ready for, and then they have one more game before the Christmas break. So you got a Flyers team that doesn't always score a ton of goals on the road. You got a Chicago team that's playing better defensively, and it could turn into a goaltending battle, Spencer Knight versus Fowler. So there are opportunities there. I think Marty St. Louis, from a coach's perspective, I think the guy is smart enough to know that let's put this guy in a position where he can get some wins, he can build his confidence at the NHL level, and we might have something, right? So I think that's the way you have to look at it.
I just hope that they don't run him into the ground either, though, Carm. That's the only thing I kind of just hope that. But
no, you have to spot start him. You have to spot start him. You can't. He can't become your number two. You have to. One of these other goalies, and hopefully it's Montembeault, has to get out of whatever funk he's in, and it's the team and how they play in front of him. If Montembeault had been in goal last night, the Montreal Canadiens would have won the way they played defense. I watched that game. I watched good portions of that game, and the way they played extremely well. You could have put Montembeault in there, and they would have won. So it's an extension of that. Can they do that on a regular basis? And they'll go back to the Montreal Canadiens of the beginning of the season that looked very good. So we'll see if that happens. Andrew, before I go to the pod,
Perlo says here, this is kind of funny. They played the Penguins last night, and Jari was the goalie. How funny would it be if Jari plays against the Habs again in 3 days?
Yeah,
for Edmonton.
It's interesting. I still, it is. I talk about landmines, and this is one in which it is. I think the Edmonton game with Montreal is kind of a landmine game. I'm not big walking across the field and trying to avoid the landmines unless I have. Because I saw him in the chat earlier, Don Buster, who I can push ahead of me. And if he explodes, he explodes. But at least I'm safe for a few more steps. Speaking of steps, let's get to the next one, which is your same game parlay, Andrew. Give us a winner here.
Yeah, Carm, for whatever reason, I'm having trouble loading the file, the image that I have here. So I'm just going to kind of just holler it out, what I have here for it. And this is it. We've got four legs for this one, and it's 2 players on each game that we have here today. So we've got the first one is the Blackhawks game. We've got Connor Bedard and Tyler Bertuzzi to both get at least 1 point. Looking at Bertuzzi, he has a point in 4 of his last 5 games against St. Louis. And Connor Bedard has a point in 4 of his last 5 against St. Louis as well. The next one is going to be Nick Schmaltz. For him, he is more of a head-to-head guy against this team. He's someone that I think has just been nonstop good against them, whether it's goals, points, assists, whatever it is overall. Not to mention for Bertuzzi, last 5 games, him and Bedard are both cooking up together. So we've got Nick Schmaltz and Matty Beniers. So plus 206 for that one, plus 118 for that one. You guys can break this up into 2 small same game parlays if you want, or if you combine them all together, you get to plus 567. So 2 same game parlays, 2 different games, 1 plus 206, 1 plus 118. Yesterday we hit the plus 134, Marchenko and Batherson. That hit, I believe, in the first 20 minutes of the game. Let's go and try and hit these. Bedard point, Bertuzzi point, Schmaltz point, and Beniers point in the late game tonight. That's it for me, Carm, in that one. Once again, guys, I will mention we hit the 5% yesterday. We're on a 7-2 NHL run, but I do have a hockey best bet tonight. It's just not in the NHL. It's a college hockey best bet. You can get that at WagerTalk.com, and, of course, take advantage of that great deal, $49 for 3 days of all plays. All right, Carm, back over to you.
Yeah, Andrew, our chat's happening. Don Buster's in there. Congrats, Buster, as well, too. I think he had a 5% winner yesterday. Clemenza's in the chat. Grab the cannoli, leave the gun, grab the cannolis, Andrew. Do you know what that's from?
I don't.
Oh, come on, man. The Godfather. Dude, that's it. I'm revoking your Canadian passport as well, too. I'm shipping you to like some, I don't know. Where can we ship you? That Iceland?
Iceland.
Somewhere. Iceland, Greenland, whatever. Come on, man. Watch it with Lindsay.
I
Come
should
on,
have
The
known that.
Godfather.
I
You've
should
got to
have known
watch
that.
The Godfather. Come
I should
on,
have known
man.
that.
Yes, you should have. The other day, I said to you that shot at the end of the show, shots were fired at the Nakatomi Plaza, and you didn't even know what that one was. Come on, man.
Well,
Die Hard. Die
Carm,
Hard. It is
somebody made a joke.
one of the best Christmas movies of all time. Die Hard.
Yeah, right. Not a good Christmas movie.
Yes, it is.
Somebody said
Christmas
this. Do
movie.
you know what this means?
Carmine, you went 6'7". I've heard that 6'7" phrase, but
that is that I wanted to see if you would catch on to that. If you saw that
yes.
6'7" thing, you went what? 6? You went not 6 and 60. You went 6 and 70, or what did you go?
Yeah,
6 and 70 seconds.
6 and 67.
Yeah,
6 and 67.
Like the Maple Leafs.
Oh God, let's not talk about pineapple on pizzas. Okay, Andrew, it is time for the pod, and then we'll let people know what we have up at WagerTalk. Guys, the pod play. I'm going back to that Utah game. We had a winner yesterday with the over in the first period of the Sabres Vancouver game. We are going with Utah in regulation here, -120. I talked about it. They've been home for a couple games. The first one was a flat effort against the Kings, and I expected that one. The second one was a much better effort against the Florida Panthers. Unfortunately, it ended the same way as the Kings one was, with them on the losing end of it. But the fact that they generated a lot of XG in that game, and that the team had legs in that game, I think this is a very good spot for them to win it in regulation, -120. So that is your pod play for today. Andrew, toss up that graphic if you can.
All right. I'm just getting rid of the other one. And there is the other one.
He'll be here shortly for you guys, guys. That's not it. There it is. Let's shrink it a little bit so people see the starting bankroll. There we go. I'll start this one once again for the.
Bear with me, Carm. Bear with me here, brother.
I'll start this one more time for the obviously for social media clips. Here we go. The Utah Mammoth in regulation is your pod play -120. This team generated a lot of XG in their last game, which was a loss to the Florida Panthers, but home for their third game now after a brutal road trip. They get the win tonight against the Seattle Kraken, and they get it done in 60 minutes. Let's get another winner and continue to build that bankroll. Follow me on the X at Carmine Bianco WT for Saturday's pod play. And let's get a winner in this one.
There we go. Carm, I'm trying my best here with you. I got a bunch of images, but a bunch of stuff going on. Trying to look at these odds that keep moving and some of these props that I'm interested in, which I'm not happy about. So I will have player props for anybody interested.
We might have to bring back Dan Alexander. Like the guy is just like he's so Hollywood now. But I hear he's moving back to the East Coast. He misses those Philly cheesesteaks, eh?
Where is Dan when you need him here on a Friday? What is Dan doing? We need him today. But Carm, yeah, you know what? I'll probably mostly be on props if I do release anything for NHL. I do like Utah. I'm going to wait to see more lineup information if I do get to the window on that one. And again, I just got that 4% best bet college hockey play. If you guys want to dip your toes with college hockey, you can get that from me today at WagerTalk. But the best deal of the weekend, $49 for all of our hockey plays. It's a great, great deal. That's it for me. Comment below, guys, what you think. Tristan Jarry, yay or nay with the Edmonton Oilers. Carm, last chance for you. What else do you have going on?
Yeah, guys, couple plays up in the NHL. No soccer today. A winning day in soccer yesterday has been a profitable week across all sports. Monster cards coming this weekend. NHL, there's going to be a 5% play up. Soccer, some best bets up for tomorrow. And of course, college and NFL. We're just going to try and keep the ball rolling, guys. So grab the NHL 3-day pass, and you'll get all plays through the weekend, including that 5% play. And of course, if you want to just grab every single play, you can grab the all access 3-day package and get all plays. And that's pretty much it, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day. For myself, Andrew McInnis, and our guests this week, the Prez, Don Buster, and Brian Leonard. This is Puck Time. Have a great weekend, guys. We will see you on Monday.
All right.
We're still alive.